You know, when the Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Lakers get on the court, it is never just another game on the schedule. Seriously, it's become one of the most intense, personal, and flat-out compelling matchups in the entire NBA. So let's get into it and break down exactly what makes this rivalry tick.
So that's the real question on everyone's mind, right? Is this the NBA's next great rivalry? I mean, a truly legendary one? Well, the evidence is pretty darn compelling, and it all kicks off with a classic clash of generations.
All right, Section 1, a rivalry is born, the clash of eras. And really, that's the perfect way to describe it. At its heart, this whole thing is like a perfect storm. It's this symbolic battle between two totally different NBA eras, and we're all watching it play out in real time.
Okay, so on one side you've got the Lakers' old guard. And who else could it be but LeBron James, right? The guy is an institution, a living legend still somehow playing at an elite level in his 40s. Then, on the other side, you have the Grizzlies' new blood, led by the absolutely explosive, fearless Ja Morant. He is the face of the league's next generation, no question about it.
Next up, sparks on the sideline, the flashpoints. Look, this isn't just some clash of ideas on paper. Oh no, this rivalry was forged in actual fire, with these specific high-drama moments that have basically thrown gasoline on the flames every single time these two teams meet.
And you can literally trace the escalation right here. It all kicked into high gear back in January 2023 with those, well, courtside fireworks. That was followed by an absolutely incredible overtime thriller in the playoffs. And then, January 2024, we saw what turned out to be Ja Morant's final stand of the season, a defiant win against these very same Lakers.
Okay, that courtside moment, this is when things truly boiled over. It wasn't just players on the court anymore. Suddenly you had celebrities and family getting pulled in from the sidelines. I mean, you had NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe jawing with Ja Morant, and then with Ja's dad, T. It just blew up into this huge media spectacle that really cemented the bad blood between these two sides.
And get this rivalry is so intense, it's actually become the backdrop for NBA history. It was against these very same Grizzlies that LeBron James became just the second player ever to hit 38,000 career points. Think about that. Even these legendary historic milestones are now getting wrapped up in this feud.
All right, Section 3, the tale of the tape, a statistical blueprint. So we've talked about all the drama, the trash talk, the history, but what about the actual on-court battle? Let's dig into the numbers, because they show exactly how these contrasting styles make for such an awesome matchup.
Okay, before we jump into the stats, let's quickly talk about one key metric you're going to see: offensive efficiency. All it is, really, is a measure of how good a team is at scoring. It's how many points they score per 100 possessions. Super simple. The higher the number, the better.
All right, so here's the raw data. You can immediately see the different philosophies at play, right? Look at offensive efficiency. The Lakers are clearly more efficient. But then look at possessions per game. The Grizzlies want to play way faster. And you can also see that Lakers edge in both effective field goal percentage and, this is a big one, their ability to get to the free throw line.
And this chart really just hammers home the key takeaway from that table. The Lakers' offensive efficiency is just plain higher. They make their possessions count for more, and honestly, that slight edge is often the entire difference in these nail-biter games.
So here's the bottom line. The stats really show two clashing philosophies, right? The Grizzlies, their strategy is to run you off the court, push the pace, get more possessions, launch more threes. The Lakers, they want to slow it all down, control the tempo, and just grind you out with high-percentage shots and free throws. It's a classic case of speed versus power.
Which brings us to our next section, the January showdown, where stats met reality. Okay, so let's see how all this stuff, the narrative, the history, the numbers, how it all collided in their most recent matchup.
And in this chapter of the rivalry, it was experience that won out. The Lakers rallied to take the game 128-121. It was a super hard-fought battle, but in the end, the Lakers' methodical efficiency just overcame the Grizzlies' more frantic pace.
And man, did the stars show up for this one. Just look at these numbers. The Lakers were led by just dominant performances from Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They combined for a massive 65 points. On the other side, Jaren Jackson Jr. did everything he could to keep the Grizz in it with 25 of his own. The big names absolutely 100% delivered.
But you know, the drama in these games isn't just about the superstars. Not at all. Sometimes it's the personal stories, the guys on the bench, that add the real spice. And here's the perfect example, Christian Coloco. So this guy gets let go by the Lakers, right? Then he gets picked up by the Grizzlies on a 10-day contract. And just 11 days later, he finds himself on the court playing against his old team. I mean, come on. That kind of subplot just adds a whole other layer of intensity to an already fiery rivalry.
Okay, last section here. What's next? The collision course. So that brings us to the future, right? With all this history and all this bad blood already baked in, what's the next chapter going to look like? Well, it looks like these two teams are on an absolute collision course. And this potential playoff bracket tells you everything you need to know. So if the Lakers are, say, a number 3 seed and the Grizzlies land at number 8, they're not going to face each other in the first round. But, and this is a big but, if the Grizzlies can pull off an upset in that first round, a second-round showdown with the Lakers becomes a very, very real and, let's be honest, tantalizing possibility.
So it all comes down to this, the ultimate question. As a legend like LeBron James gets closer to the end of his unbelievable career and this new generation, led by stars like Ja Morant, rises up to take the throne, who is going to own the next chapter of this story? Who's going to define this rivalry going forward? You know, only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, we will all be watching.